Welcome to this episode of Automation World's Technology Matters. In this episode, we'll be looking at the recent trends around virtual troubleshooting and the use of virtual reality for workforce training stemming from COVID-19, as well as some key insights from experts about staying up to date with functional machine safety in your plant. So let's start with virtual troubleshooting. Now, a few years ago, Automation World conducted a survey of its readers to find out how widespread the use of remote access technology really was. And results of that survey showed that 72% of respondents were using remote access technologies to gain access to plant equipment and data. And of those who had yet to implement remote access technology, 46% said they planned to do so in the near term. Now, Jason Sprayberry, who works for industrial networking technology supplier HMS, said a primary driver of the increased interest around remote access lately are the travel restrictions that companies are implementing in reaction to the pandemic. Now, he noted that companies such as Nestle, L'Oreal, and Unilever have implemented travel bans affecting more than 532,000 people. And despite this travel ban, machines still break and need servicing by OEMs, often under warranty commitments and service level agreements. And that's where remote access comes in. Now, HMS is known for its E1 remote access device, which offers wired and wireless connectivity and has a range of local area network options for plugging into industrial devices. Now, Sprayberry noted that E1 supports industrial Ethernet and serial protocols, as well as industry standards like OPC UA and MQTT, which allow it to more easily connect to IoT platforms like Microsoft Azure IoT, AWS IoT Hub, Siemens MindSphere, OSI SoftPi, Inductive Automation's Ignition, and ThingWorx from Rockwell and PTC. Now, as for security, which is the biggest concern for most companies looking into remote access technology, E1 uses industry-standard OpenVPN technologies with a firewall-friendly transport that requires little or no IT changes, according to Sprayberry. Now, he said the Talk-to-M infrastructure that's used in E1 is ISO and STAR security certified and undergoes regular security audits to ensure industrial strength security. Now, Sprayberry noted that remote access technologies can be used to address 60 to 70% of operating problems, which helps companies avoid the need for support personnel to travel during a pandemic or even during normal operations. And that's something worth considering, given that the average cost in North America to send a field technician to troubleshoot a machine on site is $2,200 per trip. Now, you can read more about this at the URL shown. Now, like virtual troubleshooting, the use of virtual reality for worker training is also attracting additional attention as a result of COVID-19. And the reason for this is that VR headset training helps reduce the number of people needed to be physically present during various training processes. Now, one of the more recent entrants into the VR training technology field is Emerson's Mimic Field 3D, which is an immersive virtual reality training experience designed to help new and incoming workers understand how changes in the field impact industrial plant processes. Now, according to Emerson, the Mimic Field 3D software uses existing industrial 3D CAD models of a facility and its equipment to create a VR training experience. If these models aren't available, Emerson can create them via surveys or through its library of industrial components. Now, Mimic Field 3D can be used to create specific simulation scenarios using the software's logic and modeling tools. The resulting simulations can run on any device to provide field operators with an immersive training experience. And you can learn more about this VR technology at the URL shown. Now, finally, this week, we'll review advice from industry experts on functional machine safety. Now, nearly every industrial company cites worker safety as its top priority. But making statements about safety is very different from actual implementation. With standards varying around the world and governmental directives being so broad that they often don't provide exact guidelines, machine safety can be a challenge for machine manufacturers and end users alike. And this lack of clarity around machine safety was apparent in responses to a recent survey of Automation World readers, where we received numerous questions on the topic of machine safety. Now, to help clarify these issues for our readers, we connected with two representatives from Omron Automation, Todd Mason-Darnell and Pamela Horbakovsky, for a recent episode of the Automation World Get Your Questions Answered podcast series. Now, in the interview, Todd noted that in the U.S., it's up to end users to drive machine safety specifications to OEMs. He said most OEMs are not going to guard a machine or implement functional machine safety unless the end user specifies it. Now, in addition to that, it's important to recognize the need for continuously reviewing and updating machine safety. And Todd provided a good example why. He shared a story about one customer they worked with who had done a risk assessment and guarded a machine properly, but then they moved that machine to another location in the factory next to a stairwell. This new placement of the machine allowed workers to step up a couple of steps and reach over the guarding that had been placed on the machine so that they could make adjustments. He said the company had not considered the environmental factors that would allow a worker to reach over, under, or around the guarding. And that's why risk assessments and ensuing safety implementations can't be done in the abstract. He said they have to be made in the environment in which the machine will operate. And Pamela added that you really need to be in front of the machine in the environment where it will be operated when doing risk assessments and functional safety testing to understand the placement of all the safety devices, how they interact with the machine, and how operators will be interacting with those safety devices. Todd also pointed out that OSHA will not tell an end user specifically what to do. They'll just refer to a specific standard to be followed. He said that's why we're now seeing greater harmonization across standards, like those from ANSI and ISO, because of the machine safety challenges faced by OEMs worldwide. Now, speaking of these standards, Todd said a good starting point for implementing functional machine safety is ANSI B1119 because it provides a growth perspective around developing safety solutions and techniques. He said that as long as you follow one of these standard groups, either ANSI or ISO, you'll be compliant, but you should also keep in mind additional requirements and regulations in the areas where the machine will be used. Now, to hear the whole interview with Todd and Pam, visit the URL shown. So, I hope you enjoyed this Technology Matters episode and that you'll check out these and other posts at automationworld.com. And if you haven't yet subscribed to our channel, please do so by clicking on the AWTV logo on the bottom right-hand side of your screen and tell your coworkers to please do the same. That way we'll be able to add more interactive features to our content here on the Automation World TV channel. And keep checking back in with us here as we'll be posting new videos regularly. So, we'll see you soon with the next installment of Automation World's Technology Matters.